Joining us now is Beth Nixon. She is the owner of Reware Vintage in downtown Berkeley. You can learn more information on their website at rewarevintage.com. Beth, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate having you on the show. So tell us a little bit about Reware Vintage. What can people expect to find at your store, and how did you come to owning this store and starting this in downtown Berkeley?
Well, I've been selling online on my own website, like you said, at rewarevintage.com for 16 years. We've lived in Berkeley for 10 years, and we've been thinking about opening a store for a long time. And just the perfect space opened up, and it really spoke to us. And so we're happy to be open. We opened just a few weeks ago, and we're so happy to be part of the community, both living here and owning a business here. But we sell all sorts of vintage clothing. We specialize in T-shirts from the 70s all the way through Y2K, and other casual kind of clothing, denim and jackets, sweaters and sweatshirts. Really, we want to outfit you with clothes that you're going to wear every day, not just for special occasions.
And so you mentioned that you've been selling vintage clothing online for about 16 years now, and that doesn't even mention the now brick and mortar store they have in downtown Berkeley. What got you into this line of work and selling vintage clothing?
When I was just a teenager, I was a little punk rock kid. And at that time in the 90s, it was hard to find T-shirts and clothes that really were my style. So I liked going thrift shopping and finding old tour T-shirts for bands that I liked from the 70s and the 80s. And I loved my vintage Levi's and loud sweaters and the crazy stuff that a teenager would put together. But people would stop me on the street and ask me where I got the clothes that I was wearing. And then people started asking me to find things for them. And I loved wearing vintage, and I loved helping other people find what they were looking for, and hearing stories from people about their memories about the items I was wearing or finding for them. And eBay launched a couple years later. I started selling on eBay, and so I've been doing this on my own website for 16 years, but well over 20 years I've been selling vintage clothing. So the store is just a whole nother branch. And we're so happy to be here.
So what makes something then considered vintage?
Oh, that's a great question. Technically, vintage is 20 years old. So believe it or not, something that was made in 2001 is now vintage. So that's about what we carry up to is Y2K.
So for your business, Reware Vintage, which is located in downtown Berkeley, it's also online, rewarevintage.com. How do you get how do you obtain the vintage clothing and other items that you're selling?
Well, mostly through the community, people locally that are cleaning out their basements, their closets, their attics. A lot of times people will go to a concert, buy a T-shirt, throw it in a box, and hold on to it for 10 or 20 or 30 years. And when people are looking through their things and wanting to slim down their possessions, they'll reach out to me, and I'll do house calls, or they can bring clothing here to the store now too. And then I also just have a lot of friends and people around me in the state and in Illinois and Ohio who know what I do and what I like to carry and sell, and will also keep an eye out for me and sell me things as well.
We're joined by Beth Nixon, the owner of Reware Vintage, located in downtown Berkeley and online at rewarevintage.com. And so you're at your store right now in downtown Berkeley. Tell us a little bit about your hours of operation, when people can come in to shop, and then if somebody wants to provide your store with some of their vintage clothing or other items for you to then resell, how can they go about that?
Sure. Like you said, we're located in downtown Berkeley. Our address is 2965 West 12 Mile Road. And if you know where the old Berkeley movie theater sign is, we're right across the street from that. Our holiday hours are 12 to 5 on Wednesdays, 12 to 9 on Thursdays, 12 to 5 on Fridays, and 11 to 5 on Saturdays. We're closed Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And if people want to make a buying appointment to bring in their clothes, I do buying appointments on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And you can call the store at 248-439-0007 to make an appointment with me.
We're joined by Beth Nixon, owner of Reware Vintage, located in downtown Berkeley. You can learn more information about the store and explore some of the products that they have available at this time down at the store by visiting rewarevintage.com. Again, that is rewarevintage.com. Right now, they recently posted a $1,200 Iron Maiden tour shirt that was only sold at select shows back in 1983, specifically in Texas. And so, Beth, of course, that's a great find, and it's a really interesting and unique item. What have been some of the other more unique or what have been some of the other more unique items that have come through your store or been sold through Reware Vintage in your years of operations?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've sold thousands of t-shirts. It's hard to pick some favorites, but like you said, that Iron Maiden one is really exceptional. And it is so rare and so unique that it's just from those 8 dates in Texas. It was a thrill to get that. But we carry band t-shirts from across the spectrum of music. Right now we have Garth Brooks t-shirts, Run DMC t-shirts. We've got a Misfits shirt from the 90s, a D12 shirt that was owned by one of their security guards. We've got all sorts of t-shirts for movies too. We have Teen Wolf and Three Amigos. And really, gosh, I think the best t-shirt I ever had was a Beastie Boys shirt that they had to pull off their License to Ill Communication tour after a few dates because there were so many people upset about the vulgarity on the back. And that was probably the favorite shirt of mine to have for a little bit before it passed on to somebody else.
So Beth, people are bringing in their items consistently to your store. You're looking all over for these vintage items that you can then resell through Reware Vintage. About how long on average would you say that these products remain in your store, remain available online before somebody picks them up?
That's a really good question. I mean, we have t-shirts that sell for starting at $16, so there's lots at every price point. And a lot of those lower priced t-shirts will last just a day or two, along with like any t-shirts for the Detroit Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons. Those don't last long at all. But then we also have shirts that will stick around for a year or two before the right person sees it who's been looking for it. And I imagine that Iron Maiden shirt will take a little bit to sell. But we're happy to always be finding new t-shirts. We put out new shirts and clothing every week. And it's exciting to reunite them with new owners. And sometimes it's people that owned the shirt 20 or 30 years ago who lost it, or an ex took it or something. So I'm happy to have them find it again and wear it all over again.
You can learn more information and and take a look at all the products that they currently have available at their website at rewarevintage.com or by visiting their store in downtown Berkeley. We're joined by Reware Vintage owner Beth Nixon on the Megacast, and people are doing their holiday shopping. They're going to continue to be doing that, their last minute shopping as we head into next week and approach the Christmas holiday and other holidays toward the end of the year. And people want to be shopping local, are still focused, hopefully, or at least we hope that they are, on shopping local. So right now at your store, what are some interesting items that would make good gifts, even stocking stuffers, for people this holiday season?
Sure. Well, one of the big hits that we've had this season is these old Detroit Tigers glasses from 1984. I located a whole case of them. And so people have been coming in and buying one or an entire set of 4 for people that are the big Tigers fans in their lives. I've also got a ton of old snapback hats from the 80s and 90s for local teams and for bands and for favorite places that someone might want to collect a hat from. And then I do make, and I'm wearing a pair right now, these earrings that I cut from vinyl records, and they come in all sorts of different colors and shapes and sizes. And they're a big hit with people who are record collectors and musicians. So those are a great stocking stuffer too. We also have gift cards that you can buy online, and it will just get emailed straight to you to give to whoever you want to gift to. If you know that they love vintage, but they're a hard to shop for person, a gift card is a good way to go to.
We're joined by Beth Nixon, owner of Reware Vintage in downtown Berkeley, joining us today on the Megacast. You can learn more information, again, on their website at rewarevintage.com, where you can also do some shopping as well, as it began as an online business, and now they have their store, of course, in downtown Berkeley. Again, the website, rewarevintage.com, is where you'll be able to find all of this information in a whole lot of different categories, and you can do your shopping online as well. And so, Beth, just another few minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be interesting for our audience to know about your store at this time, or anything else that you'd like to talk about that we haven't discussed today?
Well, I guess I would just say that we do carry all sizes. We carry kids' clothes from 6 months up, and adult men's and women's clothes from extra small all the way up to 3X. So we like to think that there's something for everybody, of every size, of every age here.
Well, Beth, we appreciate your time. Thank you for telling us about this really interesting business that you have in downtown Berkeley.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Tyler.